Downloading
the Cyber Law and Business Report.
Only on webmasterradio.fm.
All rise.
Welcome to the Cyber Law and Business Report. Get the top story on the hot button internet legal topics of the day. This is your home for the latest on internet law and policy. Hear the latest net trends impacting business and have your questions answered right here. This is the Cyber Law and Business Report. Now, please welcome your host, the founder of the Internet Law Center, Bennett Kelly.
Broadcasting live from the heart of Silicon Beach here in Santa Monica. We have a great show for you today. Please be seated. Let's start with recognizing what today is on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. World War I came to an end. And today we celebrate that as Veterans Day, and I want to salute all those who serve our country for their sacrifice. Our next segment, we have Chris Conley from the ACLU in San Francisco, and Chris is going to talk to us about a new law that Jerry Brown just signed last month called California Electronic Communications Privacy Act. Chris, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Well, one thing that surprised me was the degree to which these requests for information from cell phones and metadata, et cetera, were being made by law enforcement without a warrant. And that this is seen to be rampant. And there's just an increasing amount. I believe the 1/3 of the requests had a warrant.
Yeah, and this is exactly what CalECPA was designed to address. CalECPA is our abbreviation for the Electronic Communications Privacy Act, because I say that too often, I get my tongue tied. The problem has been that, in both the statutory and constitutional level, the courts and lawmakers have not really brought existing privacy protections up to date with electronic and advances in technology. So, for example, the federal law that protects electronic information has a provision that that requires a warrant to obtain the contents of an electronic communication, but only if it is in electronic storage, which is a specifically defined term, for less than 180 days. This was written in the 1980s when email worked because you logged into your probably CompuServe or AOL or Prodigy or some bulletin board system, basically, and you downloaded all your emails to your computer. And so the concept at that time was, well, if you left it on the server for 6 months, you've abandoned it. It's stuff you don't care about anymore. And that's obviously not the way we treat our email today. We trust our web server to keep it because they're more reliable than the hard drive on our laptop. It's actually it's more protected, probably technically as well. Google has better security protection than I do on my personal device. And so it has completely changed the paradigm, but the law remains outdated. And so there are loopholes and gaps and gray areas where the law currently allows access to, even to content without a warrant. Now, the courts have started to engage with this. There was a decision called United States versus Warshak in the Sixth Circuit that said that you do need a warrant. The Fourth Amendment demands this, even if the federal statute does not, but that has not yet been that has not been taken up by the Supreme Court or any other circuit. And so it's not even clear whether the Fourth Amendment covers content. And then you get to information like location, communications, associational information, records of your browsing history or your purchases, all of this fine-grained information that is collected in such detail today and that can paint a very comprehensive picture of your activities. And that is even lower protection in the statutory regime and has yet to really be updated in the constitutional courts, the wide web.
All right. Well, I want to thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you, and thank you for this insight, and congratulations on your hard work paying off. This is an important development in California, but we will be back here next week talking about more developments in California and elsewhere. If you're covering the web, you want to listen to us. Follow us on Twitter at Cyberlaw Radio, and check out the Internet Law Center at internetlawcenter.net. We're a full-service internet law firm. And until then, this is Bennett Kelly. Join us next week for our next 100 shows. This is Bennett Kelly. Cyber Law and Business Report is dismissed. and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
This has been a presentation of WebmasterRadio.fm, the world's largest business-to-business radio and podcast network. We welcome you to sample past episodes of this program, as well as our complete library of programs, on demand or on the air via our 24/7 live audio stream at www.webmasterradio.fm. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and hosts and do not necessarily reflect those of WebmasterRadio.fm's management or sponsors. Any rebroadcast or redistribution without authorized consent of WebmasterRadio.fm is prohibited.